You wake up every morning with two choices: repeat yesterday or command today. The difference? One small act done at sunrise that flips your mindset from passive to powerful. Before the noise, before the world pulls at you, you center your thoughts on who you're becoming. This one habit shapes your decisions, your energy, your confidence, and success starts moving in your direction. You don't chase it anymore. You attract it by how you begin your day. In a few moments, I will teach you how to start each morning with one habit that naturally attracts unstoppable success. Wake up with a definite purpose. You can rise or you can drift. And the difference between those two begins the moment your eyes open. If you start your day without a definite aim, you've already handed your power to chance. But if the very first breath you take is wrapped in purpose, real chosen purpose, you seize back control of your life. Success never meets the man who wakes up confused. It walks beside the one who wakes up certain. But how do you become certain? You choose, and you choose every morning. Before the birds finish their first song, you stand before your own mind and declare, "This is what I am building today. This is who I am becoming." Each day is a block of granite. Your purpose is the chisel. Without it, you don't sculpt, you merely scratch. You begin with a question: what do I want this day to become? Not what others demand, not what the world expects, but what you know must be done if your vision is to rise from imagination into fact. Imagine if a builder walked onto a construction site each morning without a blueprint. What would he accomplish? Nothing but disorder. But that's how most people live, waiting for someone else to decide the day. You're not most people, so ask yourself, why am I rising? What matters most today? What action will make me proud when night falls? Success does not come from trying harder. It comes from aiming better. And you must aim first thing in the morning, when the mind is quiet, before the world has a chance to speak. Each morning, sit still. Close your eyes. Say your intention aloud. See it. Feel it. Then rise like a man on a mission, because that is exactly what you are. Speak victory over your day. The tongue is a tool or a trap. And the first words you speak each morning either set your mind ablaze with conviction or extinguish your inner fire before it's even lit. You've seen this. A man wakes up and groans, "Another long day." Another says, "This is the day everything changes." Which one do you think leaves the house ready to win? You are what you speak, especially to yourself. Most people don't realize this. Your subconscious listens closely in the morning. It hasn't yet formed the rhythm of the day. It waits for you to tell it what kind of day it's about to live. So if your first words are doubt, dread, or defeat, you've already surrendered your power. But when you rise and say, "I am strong, I am capable, I will finish what I start," something inside you tightens, like a drawn bowstring. Do this before you speak to anyone else, even before you eat. Speak out loud, firmly, clearly, with power. Today I rise with clarity. Today I act without hesitation. Today I attract success by what I build. Imagine a warrior walking into battle mumbling complaints. He wouldn't last a minute, but when he shouts his oath, grips his blade, and charges forward, he's unstoppable. You are that warrior, and your weapon is your word. So ask yourself each morning, what truth must I speak over my day? What doubt must I silence before it grows? Do not wait for confidence to come. Speak it into being. Declare your mindset. Declare your goal. Then go and prove your words with action. What you say in the morning becomes the story you live by noon. Review your definite chief aim. If you don't review your vision daily, you forget why you started. And when a man forgets his why, he becomes a leaf in the wind, blown by circumstance, never rooted in purpose. Every morning you must bring your mind back to your definite chief aim, the one goal that lifts all others. Without it, life becomes a scattered chase for approval, pleasure, and distraction. But with it, everything begins to align. Why does this matter in the morning? Because the mind is unshaped when you first rise. It's like warm clay, soft, moldable. If you press your purpose into it early, it sets. But if you leave it to the world will shape it into fear, envy, and aimless busyness. So open your notebook, not a random sheet, one dedicated to your life's aim. Read it aloud, every word. Remind yourself what you're building and why it matters. Speak not only of the result, but of the character you must embody to deserve it. You say you want freedom, wealth, impact, then you must review it as if it already exists. Let that fire guide your steps. Imagine an archer pulling back his bow each morning without looking at the target. He might fire 100 arrows, but none will hit the mark. You are the archer. Your aim is your responsibility. Ask yourself, what am I truly working toward? Am I moving with direction or merely moving? Each morning, center yourself in your vision, because when your aim is clear, your decisions become easy and your power multiplies. Strengthen the discipline muscle. Discipline is not a mood, it is a muscle. And like any muscle, it strengthens through repetition, especially in the morning when the body resists and the mind seeks comfort. You don't wait for the feeling, you train it. The truth is, if you only do what you feel like doing in the morning, you'll live a life of regret. But if you do what you promised yourself, even when it's cold, inconvenient, or uncomfortable, you'll build a character that cannot be broken. So begin each day with a task that requires effort, something that demands obedience, not to others, but to your higher self. It could be a cold rinse, a morning walk, a handwritten letter to your future self. Anything that says, I command my will. Most people train their comfort. You must train your grit. Imagine a farmer refusing to tend his fields because he's not in the mood. How long before his harvest rots? But you are not a slave to your feelings. You are the master of your intention. Discipline, when trained in the morning, becomes a shield for the entire day. So ask yourself, what small battle will I win this morning to prove that I am stronger than my excuses? You want to attract success? Then act like the man success wants to meet. Disciplined, sharp, ready. The more mornings you win, the fewer days you waste. Practice inner stillness before action, before the noise of the world comes crashing in. Before the messages, the voices, the obligations, you must sit with yourself. There is a stillness within you that the world has taught you to ignore. It is not empty. It is not passive. It is power in its purest, most concentrated form. And every morning, before the day begins, you must return to that place, not out of ritual, but out of necessity, because that quiet center inside you is the difference between reacting blindly and responding with purpose. It is not a retreat. It is where the battle begins. Most people wake up and rush. They sprint into the day as if time is their master and not their tool. But this is like a soldier running onto the battlefield without a plan, without knowing who the enemy is, where the traps lie, or why he's even fighting. The result is exhaustion, chaos, aimlessness, and regret. But you are not most people. You must begin differently. You begin by not beginning right away. You close your eyes. You breathe slowly. You sit still. Because in that stillness, something ancient stirs. Your own voice, the one that gets drowned out by the demands of others, the one that remembers your purpose, your principles, your path. In those quiet moments, you ask, what weight am I still dragging from yesterday? Resentment? Regret? Overthinking? Let it go. Burn it in the silence. Release it before it becomes a shadow on the day ahead. Stillness is not laziness. It is strategy. Imagine a blacksmith swinging a hammer at cold iron. He'll sweat, he'll shout, he'll strike, but nothing will bend. Yet the moment he waits for the heat, the metal softens, and suddenly his force has purpose. His effort has impact. That's what your stillness is, the heat. Without it, your day will be a series of empty blows. But with it, your smallest act becomes deliberate, sharp, powerful. So give yourself the gift of presence. A few minutes, no movement, no talk, just awareness. Watch your thoughts come and go. Let your mind settle like stirred water going calm. Then ask, if today were the last chance I had to give my gift to this world, how would I act? Would I be reactive? Would I waste it? Or would I move with clarity, with love, with fire? Because action alone is not enough. Anyone can move, but to move with intention, to strike when the metal is ready. That is mastery. That is where legacies begin. Stillness before motion. Reflection before ambition. That is the rhythm of those who lead, those who last, those who build something eternal. Decide what you will refuse today. Every morning, before the world gets its hands on you, you must meet a silent enemy. It doesn't arrive with fire or noise. It comes quietly, disguised as small choices, harmless diversions, well-meaning interruptions, and if you don't confront it, it will take everything, not with a single blow, but with 1,000 soft cuts. Most people don't lose the day because they failed to plan. They lose it because they never decided what not to allow. They never drew the boundary. They never stood guard at the gate of their focus. And so the day is hijacked by distractions, by the urgency of others, by demands that have nothing to do with their purpose. You must wake up each day with a refusal. Not anger, not resistance for its own sake, but a clear, unwavering decision about what will not be allowed into your time, your thoughts, your actions. Because success is not just built on what you pursue, it is protected by what you reject. Your boundaries are your shield, and if you do not create them, someone else will create them for you. Most men don't fall because of grand mistake. They fall because of quiet compromise. They say yes to a meeting they don't need. They open a message that derails their focus. They explain themselves to someone who never listens, and slowly, inch by inch, they give away the very power they swore to protect. Why? Because they never made the decision before the moment came. You must. You must draw the line before the day begins. You must rise not just with plans, but with a conviction about what you won't do. Each morning, choose one thing you will not permit. Speak it aloud, not for drama, but for clarity. Today I will not chase approval. Today I will not argue with fools. Today I will not break my word to myself, because when you speak it, you anchor it. You set your compass before the winds come. Otherwise, like a captain sailing without a map, you may move, but you'll never arrive. You'll respond to every gust of wind, every wave of emotion, every demand for your attention, and you'll call it productivity, but you'll be lost. Leadership begins with self-denial, not denial of joy or rest, but denial of anything that betrays your deeper mission. To refuse something is not weakness, it is strength. It is the visible expression of self-respect. So ask yourself now, clearly and without hesitation, what must I deny today to protect what I am building? What distraction, habit, or expectation must you meet with silence or a firm no? Because the most powerful choice you can make at sunrise is not what you'll do, but what you will not allow. Take dominion over your thoughts. You are not your thoughts, but you are the master responsible for them. You do not control every idea that enters your mind, but you do control which ones you entertain, which ones you feed, and which ones you allow to take root. And if you do not rise each morning with that authority in hand, your thoughts will take that authority from you. They will command you, they will lead you, and they will lead you nowhere you want to go. The average man wakes up and immediately becomes a slave, not to another man, but to his own unchecked thinking. He begins the day in a fog of regret over the past, fear about the future, envy of others, and dissatisfaction with his present. These thoughts do not ask permission, they arrive. And because he never questions them, he surrenders to them. And then he wonders why life feels heavy, why nothing changes, why his motivation slips away by noon, but you are not average. You do not let the mind wander like an unsupervised child. You stand watch over it. You govern it, because you understand this simple truth. Your thoughts shape your world. Each morning, before the world speaks, before people demand things from you, you must speak to yourself. You must stand as a sentry at the gate of your mind. Look at every thought passing through. Ask, does this thought strengthen me or weaken me? Does it make me sharper or softer? And if it does not serve you, replace it. Do not argue with it. Do not indulge it. Replace it. You are not a passive passenger. You are the architect. And architects do not let rotten beams remain in their design. This is the discipline the great men knew, from Marcus Aurelius to Benjamin Franklin, from Epictetus to Carnegie. The mind is a garden, they understood. And no garden grows what you want by accident. If you neglect it, weeds flourish. Doubt, fear, self-pity, these require no effort to grow. But when you rise with purpose and tend to the soil of your thoughts, something else begins to take root. Clarity, resolve, belief, power. That is the daily discipline. That is how giants are made. So every morning, ask yourself clearly, what thought must I release today? What is still lingering from yesterday's failure, or last week's betrayal, or last year's shame? And what thought must I feed instead? Is it faith in yourself? A vision of what's possible? A decision that you will rise, even if you failed before? Speak it aloud if you must. Today I release every thought that weakens me. I dwell only on what builds my future. Replace every complaint with one act of gratitude. Replace every fear with a single step forward. Replace every excuse with a reason to move. This is not magic. This is mental strength, and it is earned every morning in silence. Imagine a builder with the finest tools, the strongest bricks, the most beautiful design, yet he builds on unstable sand. His mansion will fall not because of poor material, but because of poor foundation. Your thoughts are that foundation. If they are soft, your actions will crumble. If they are sharp, your progress will endure. So begin each day by laying that foundation again. Choose your thoughts as a wise man chooses his companions. Not every idea deserves your time. Not every emotion deserves your attention. You do not owe your energy to every voice that speaks inside your mind. You owe it only to the ones that make you stronger, because in the end, your life will never grow beyond the strength of the thoughts that hold it up. Guard them, shape them, and they will build a life worthy of your power. Move your body like a man who commands life. Your body is not a lifeless machine to be pushed through tasks. It is a living declaration, a reflection of your inner state, a visible, undeniable message to the world and to yourself about who you are and how you intend to show up. Every gesture, every breath, every step in the first hour of your morning is not just movement. It is a statement. Slouched shoulders whisper defeat. Dragging feet suggest doubt. Idle hands reveal hesitation. But when you move like a man with purpose, when your steps are firm, your shoulders back, your breath deep, you tell the day exactly who's in charge. You don't need a gym membership to reclaim your strength. You don't need a marathon to prove your discipline. What you need is intention, awareness, a choice to use your body not as a burden to carry, but as a tool of power. The first hour after you wake is sacred. It sets the rhythm for everything that follows. And the man who controls his first hour often ends up controlling the rest of his life. Stand tall as you rise. Roll your shoulders back. Plant your feet with force. Stretch, not lazily, but with strength, as if you are awakening a warrior that's been resting overnight, not a tired soul dragging himself into another day of obligation. When you walk, walk with speed, not rush. Speed, there is a difference. Rushing is anxious. Speed is decisive. Let your movement declare that you are a man of clarity, not confusion. That you are a man of action, not apology. There is ancient wisdom in this. The warriors of old, from Spartans to samurai, begin each morning not with words, but with rituals of the body. They moved, trained, breathed, focused. It wasn't about looking strong. It was about being strong. It was about commanding their bodies before the world tried to. They understood something we often forget. When the body obeys the mind begins to believe in itself. Confidence is not just a feeling, it is a habit. And the first habit is movement. Ask yourself each morning, what kind of man do I want to feel like today? Not someday. Today. Do you want to feel bold and walk like it? Do you want to feel calm, then move with composure? Do you want to feel powerful? Then take up space with your presence. Your body can access emotions that the mind alone cannot reach. It can pull you out of weakness before your mind has even formed a complete thought. Picture a lion waking up. He does not crawl. He does not sigh. He does not hesitate. He rises, shakes the dust from his mane, and moves forward with silent authority. There is no announcement, no permission, just motion. You were born with the same potential, but the world will make you forget unless you remind yourself daily. Let your body be that reminder. Let it speak before your mouth does. When your chest is lifted, your spine tall, your jaw set, you activate something ancient inside you, a kind of primal certainty. You no longer chase motivation, you become motivation. Your body, your pace, your breath, it all tells the story. This is a man who knows where he's going. So start every day with deliberate motion. Wake the warrior, shake off weakness, move like your future depends on it, because it does. Nothing attracts success, respect, or power more than a man who carries himself like he already owns the outcome. And when you do that, the world responds. The day obeys, and you walk through it not as a servant of time, but as its master. Speak gratitude with conviction. Gratitude is not a soft murmur whispered into the void. It is a declaration of power. It is the voice of a man who sees clearly, a man who refuses to let the weight of what's missing eclipse the worth of what already is. And when you begin your morning with that kind of gratitude, not vague, not hollow, but rooted and real, you awaken something far greater than good feelings. You awaken alignment, power, momentum, the kind of force that shifts not just your mood, but your direction. Most men get it backwards. They wait. They wait for circumstances to improve before they speak thanks. They wait for the bank account to fill, the recognition to come, the problems to solve themselves. And then they say they will be grateful. But that's not gratitude. That's reward. And life was never designed to give reward before recognition. It is gratitude first. Gratitude in the silent, gratitude in the struggle, that unlocks the gates to more. You don't give thanks after life gives you something. You give thanks so life knows you're ready. Every morning, speak aloud 3 things you are grateful for, not to check a box, not to be positive, but because this is how you rise above lack. This is how you look life in the eye and say, I see what you've given me, and I'm still here to build on it. Don't whisper it. Say it like you would say your name. Say it like it means something. I have breath in my lungs. I have strength in my legs. I have a mind that still believes. This isn't poetry, it's armor. And if you wake up feeling like there's nothing to be grateful for, look again. Look deeper. You're alive. You're breathing. You've survived every hard day you swore would break you. You're not done. You're still in the fight. And that makes you richer than millions who have quit. There are people with more comfort than you who would trade it all just to feel what you still feel. Hunger, drive, the fire that hasn't gone out. Gratitude is not sentiment, it is strategy. It does something chemical. It lifts your mind from fear and forces your perspective to shift. It breaks the illusion of scarcity that strangles your confidence. It places your attention not on what you lack, but on what you can build. Because you can't be both grateful and afraid. You can't be truly thankful and bitter. When you choose gratitude, you choose power, you choose clarity. Ask yourself, what am I already standing on that I've forgotten to be thankful for? What people, principles, or second chances have I stepped over, never realizing they were the foundation beneath me? Imagine a traveler crossing a long bridge, steady, dependable, and never once looking down to realize what's holding him up. Don't be that man. Look down, look back, look in, and then say, thank you, not just once, not just with your lips. Say it with your posture, with your breath, with the way you rise from your chair and step into the day. Because when you express gratitude, you're not just making yourself feel better. You are sending a message to life itself. I recognize what you've done for me. I honor it, and I'm ready for more. More opportunity, more responsibility, more peace, more challenge. Gratitude makes room for all of it. Gratitude is not weakness. It is the mind's proof of maturity. It is the strength to stop waiting and start seeing. It is the practice of those who rise, not because life is easy, but because they have learned to begin each day with open eyes and open hearts. And when you do that, when gratitude becomes your morning fire, you will notice something strange. The world begins to respond in kind. Opportunities seem to appear. Burdens feel lighter. Conversations shift, not because life changed, but because you did. So let your gratitude speak loudly. Let it lead your morning like a war drum, not a lullaby. And step into the day knowing this: The man who begins with thanks ends with strength. Rehearse the hardest thing you must do today every day. Arrives with its own mountain. Sometimes it's obvious, a conversation you've been avoiding, a project you've delayed, a challenge you've convinced yourself you're not ready for. Other times it hides beneath smaller tasks and petty distractions, waiting until you're too tired to fight back. But whether it's bold or buried, the mountain is always there. And if you don't face it in your mind first, it will crush you when it appears in your path. The weight of it doesn't grow throughout the day. Your energy to confront it weakens. That's why morning matters. Most men wake up and negotiate with the mountain. They postpone the difficult task, telling themselves they'll get to it later. They do a dozen small things first, hoping that momentum will carry them into the hard thing, but it rarely does. Momentum built on avoidance collapses the moment resistance rises. These men seek comfort before clarity, ease before effort, and in doing so, they betray their own strength. But you must not walk that path. You must be different. You must meet the mountain before the world demands your attention, not in fear, but in preparation, not with dread, but with deliberate mental rehearsal. Sit still, breathe, close your eyes, and visualize it, the hardest task of the day, not in abstract terms, not as a looming shadow, but as a specific action. See the details, the conversation, the writing, the confrontation, the decision. Whatever it is, bring it into the center of your mind. Do not push it aside. Now, watch yourself doing it. Watch the calm in your body. Watch the way you begin, not with hesitation, but with clarity. See your hands move. Hear your voice steady. Feel yourself complete the thing you've been tempted to avoid. This practice is not fantasy, it is mental combat training. Your brain does not distinguish well between imagined mastery and real-world success. It wires itself to whatever you feed it. So when you mentally rehearse the hardest part of your day, calmly, confidently, you plant in your nervous system a memory of victory. You are no longer guessing whether you can do it. You have already seen yourself succeed. And this changes how you walk, it changes how you breathe, it changes how you begin. Why is this so powerful? Because the hardest part of the hard thing is not the doing. It is the dreading. It's the tension, the delay, the anticipation that drains your strength. When you eliminate that by rehearsing the task first thing in the morning, you arrive not as a victim of the challenge, but as the one who has already endured it in the mind. You no longer hope to overcome it, you expect to. That expectation becomes your armor. It shields your will from the onslaught of hesitation. Ask yourself plainly, what am I most tempted to avoid today? What is the one thing that, if done, would make everything else feel lighter? What pain am I postponing? What weight have I decided to carry until the last possible hour? And then ask the more important question, what would happen if I faced it now? Before it grows bigger, darker, heavier in my imagination, most men polish every other weapon, but avoid the one blade they must actually use. They sharpen skills they don't need, tidy areas that are already under control, and hide behind preparation that never ends. But that's not strength, it's polished cowardice. You must be the opposite. You must reach for the blade you fear to touch. The task that scares you is the task that builds you. The conversation that tightens your chest is the one that opens your future. The decision that keeps you awake is the one that leads to freedom. Face it. Write it down. Don't let it live vaguely in your mind. Name the hard thing. Declare it on paper with finality. And then say it aloud, not for the world, but for yourself. This I will do first, not because it is easy, not because I want to, but because it shapes the man I must become. Success does not crown the man who dances around difficulty. It crowns the man who confronts it early and often, who wakes up and makes courage his first act of the day, who walks straight toward the thing others delay, knowing that the pain is temporary, but the power earned is permanent. That is how the mountain is moved. Not all at once, not without effort, but with one clear decision made before the day begins. I will not run. I will rise. Look yourself in the eye and speak with power. You begin each day in one of two ways, either as a stranger to yourself or as the commanding force of your own destiny. There is no in between. The man who avoids his reflection, who walks past the mirror like it's a ghost he doesn't want to face, begins the day lost. But the man who dares to meet his own gaze, who stands tall and speaks truth into the mirror, that man becomes